Well, why don't we check out our friends in San Bernardino for a preview.
The stage is set for the West Region Final here at the Little League Softball World Series in San Bernardino, California. Northern California and Southern California looking to punch a ticket to Greenville. 6 teams started in the West region. We have whittled ourselves down to 2. Hawaii, Arizona, Utah, and Nevada have all been eliminated. And a winner go home today between the team from San Jose and the team from Quartz Hill. Take a look at the brackets, how we got here. Southern California winning a thriller to advance to the final in extra innings against Arizona. Northern California coming out of the consolation bracket to beat Arizona yesterday and earn their spot here today at Al Houghton Stadium. Hello, everybody. Alongside Natasha Watley, I'm Eric Rothman. Happy to be here with you. Natasha, this is a rematch of an opening round game between these two teams, and it was a close game until it wasn't. Last couple innings, Southern California pulling away for the win. Yes, the last time these two teams faced, Northern California had a great game going on. They were beating Southern California 4-3 going into the 5th and 6th inning. Southern California scored 8 runs in those last 2 innings. Southern California going on to out-hit Northern California, 12 hits to 5, and most of those runs in the last 2 innings coming on 2 errors and 2 passed balls. So Southern California capitalizing on the mistakes of the Northern California defense. We'll see what happens in the rematch today. The West Regional Final will be determined between Southern California and Northern California. As you look at the stats from their first meeting, Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo has been the ace for Quartz Hill this entire tournament. She went 6 full innings in the opening round match against Northern California, striking out 5. And we'll see if San Jose has a response. Who will earn the trip to Greenville? We will find out coming up at 5 Eastern here on ESPN.
We've got 3 games left in the slate for today and 3 more tickets to punch. A couple California squads squaring off next in the West Regional Final. Then back down the road from ESPN headquarters in Bristol for the East Region before heading back to Cali to wrap up the stateside reps in the World Series. Just counting down to the West Final, the Battle of California. So stick around. We will be back with more in a minute. We've got the West coming up. What do you have to expect for that game? What are you expecting for that?
Well, it's a rematch. Southern California beat Northern California. When you know your opponent, you've got to do something a little bit different if you want to try to turn the tables. So I think that we're going to try to see Northern California do a little bit different offensively. But for Southern California, they just got to keep using those pitchers that they've used, get the timely hits. It's going to be a battle.
The excitement is on. We're going to toss it on over to California.
Welcome to sunny and very hot San Bernardino, California. We get set for the West Region Championship game at Al Houghton Stadium between Northern California, the team from San Jose, and Southern California, the team from Quartz Hill. A win or go home game between the 2 teams from California. A trip to Greenville on the line.
The journey has been long, but is far from over. These girls have given it all they got, representing their hometowns. That kind of electric atmosphere is what we have to look forward to. They will remember this forever. Now it's time to put it all on the line. 1 win away from the opportunity of a lifetime. A trip to the Little League Softball World Series for a summer they will remember forever.
Midway Little League, your World Series champions!
The Little League Softball Regional Championships, brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. We welcome you to San Bernardino, California for the West Regional. That's Natasha Watley. I'm Eric Rothman. Happy to be here with you. We started with 6 teams in this West region. We are down to the final 2. Unfortunately, had to say goodbye to 4 of them, with Utah, Nevada, Hawaii, and Arizona all departing a little bit earlier than they wanted to. But we have a rematch of an opening round game between Northern California and Southern California. It was a close one until SoCal put up 8 runs in the final 2 innings to pull ahead for the victory. Southern California is undefeated in this tournament so far, winning an extra inning nail-biter against Arizona. And then Northern California, they've won 3 straight elimination games coming out of the consolation bracket. And the team from Almaden Little League in San Jose, California, ready to go for win number 4 in a row. As we take a look at the Almaden Little League squad from San Jose, just under 1 million people in the area, 50 miles southeast of San Francisco, big tech community, and of course their manager John Drake. And Natasha, hasn't been an easy road, but they have been the queens of the comeback here in this tournament.
They absolutely have been the queens of the comeback, and they always figure out a way to stick around their opponents and pull through. On Monday, doing it in a dramatic fashion, putting up together 3 runs in the top of the 6th to walk away with a 5-4 win. And yesterday versus Arizona, losing going into the 5th inning and putting up 5 runs to walk away with the 8-4 win.
Northern California has done a great job of taking advantage of the mistakes of their opponents. We'll see if that continues here today. That's Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. She'll be the starting pitcher for Southern California. The team from Quartz Hill, small town in the Lancaster-Palmdale area, about 77 miles northwest of where we are now. Their team motto, according to manager Steve Sandberg, today, not tomorrow. Well, they have taken this tournament one day at a time, with wins every time they've been out on this field.
Yes, and Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo, she has been the difference for this team in the circle, definitely leading, stepping up. She's been a force at the plate, just getting her team going, and this Southern California team is a force to be reckoned with.
A comeback extra inning win for SoCal in the semifinal game against Arizona punched them a ticket to this regional final. Southern California, they beat Hawaii in the first game, and then I mentioned the first game between Northern California and Southern California, an 11-4 victory for Quartz Hill, and then the nail-biter, a 2-1 walk-off victory thanks to a triple from Ariana Serta. We're ready for a first pitch from San Bernardino. Oh, it's only 100 degrees. Not too bad. We're going to crown a West Region champion when we come back. So our 2 teams here at the West Regional decided they didn't want to wait around for us, Natasha. They already got underway. 1 out here in the top of the first inning as Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo gets Kita Gutierrez to ground out. Back to the pitcher for out number 1. BSZ, the ace in the circle for Southern California, as she now faces Jada Drake, the shortstop for Northern California. Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo, this is her 4th start of the tournament. She has pitched all but 1 1/3 innings for this Southern California team. She's went 17 2/3, giving up just 3 earned runs, striking out 20. It's Jada Drake, swing and a miss. Drake, the starting shortstop for Northern California, Natasha, but she's also the closer who comes in and really shuts down the ball game in the circle.
Yes, and just so fun watching these athletes who can play on both sides of the plate, but Jada Drake, definitely one that is a true athlete and gets it done on both sides.
Opposite field base hit for Jada Drake. And a 1-out single to start things for Northern California. Northern California, 3 straight wins after losing their opening game to this Southern California team. As Brooklyn Scott, the catcher, steps in. They have been on the brink of elimination multiple times in this tournament. They just have so much heart and grittiness. As a swing and a miss there to Scott. They were down 4-1 in the second round game against Utah. That was in the last inning of regulation. They came back to tie it in the 6th and go ahead for the victory in the 7th. And then, as Natasha mentioned in our open, down against the Arizona team in the semifinals before scoring 8 runs on 5 hits. Most of those runs late in the game against Arizona. What is it, Natasha, about this Northern California team that you've seen that allows them to just kind of hang around?
Yeah, well, I will say they are one of the feistiest teams I've ever seen here at Little League regionals, and they just like stay together. 1 through 12, 13, every single one of them is packing a punch, and they just have a lot of fight in them.
Absolutely. Brooklyn Scott, the catcher for this Northern California team, 3 for 10 in the tournament thus far. The runner on first base with 1 out. 0-2 count from the lefty, Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. That's one of the things that's tricky about Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo is she is, as far as I can remember, the only left-handed pitcher we've seen in this regional.
Yeah, and when you're not used to facing a lefty, it could be a little bit tricky. They've got different spin. You're seeing off of a different trajectory, watching her release point from her left hip, and just everything breaks differently. She's got a rise screw, she has a rollover drop, and her changeup is like college level changeup.
There's that changeup, strikeout of Brooklyn Scott right on cue. We have seen so many of the 21 strikeouts that Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo has in this tournament come via the change.
Yeah, and that changeup is a flip change, and so whenever you see a flip change, it's all a roll off of a pitcher's fingers, and so that's how she's able to slow the pitch down and almost kind of pull a string on it.
Here's Danica Garcia, one of the extra hitters in the lineup with 2 outs and a runner on first. We say extra hitters because there is a new rule this year, the continuous batting order rule. And essentially, no matter how many players you have, everybody bats in order. There are no pitch hitters this year at the Little League Softball Regionals. It replaced what was once known as the mandatory play rule that required everybody to get subbed in and subbed out. It slowed down the game. It was confusing to the coaches and to the umpires. This has really cleaned things up.
Yeah, and I think just the tempo of the game just feels a lot better. And I also think about the coaches too, like not having to worry about subbing in so-and-so for so-and-so and keeping track of that. It's just a lot.
Off-speed pitch, called strike from home plate umpire Christine Larson. Larson joined by Antonio Medina at first, Ray Valverde at second, and John Biggs, the third base umpire, your all-volunteer umpiring crew. 1-2 the count to Garcia. She fights that one off, and it's one of the things that goes unsaid, but we like to point it out, is thanking the umpires for their service. You know, they're taking time out of their lives, their jobs to be here. It's an honor for them to be selected, but then again, a sacrifice to be spending their week here in San Bernardino, and they have done a fantastic job throughout the tournament. Here's the 1-2. Good job from Garcia to fight that changeup off. Garcia, who's 3 for 11 in this tournament. Triple-digit weather here in San Bernardino. A little breeze from right to left. Here's the 1-2. Catches the outside corner. Strike 3. Throw doesn't matter as the inning ends on back-to-back strikeouts for Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. What else do you expect from BSC, her 22nd K of the tournament? Little League Softball Regionals, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. The undefeated Southern California team from Quartz Hill, California will be the home team today. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo getting the gear on. She will be leading things off for a very balanced offense. Michaela Thomas, the catcher behind her. Ariana Serta batting third. Serta had the walk-off triple in the semifinal game against Arizona to send Southern California to this championship game. And they'll be dealing with Maya Parada, who has started every single game in the tournament for Northern California. She's pitched 15 total innings, given up just 5 earned runs. And Natasha, she doesn't have the strikeout numbers like Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo does, but she puts a lot of balls in play, and her defense has really backed her up in this tournament.
Yeah, I think Maya Parada is one of those pitchers you look at and you're just so frustrated because she's not overpowering. She's super efficient. She throws with precision and she just hits her spots. She throws a lot of strikes. She gets the job done. She's a frustrating pitcher if you were a hitter having to face her.
And the efficiency, she's pitched 15 innings. She's only walked 4 batters, which at this level is very impressive.
Yeah, just her accuracy. She's got so much command and control over her pitches, and she knows that, you know, I'm not going to strike out a lot of hitters, but I'm going to rely on my defense. I'm going to allow these hitters to put the ball in play and let my defense go to work for me.
The first meeting between these two, Northern California was winning 4-3 after the 4th inning, and then really kind of shot themselves in the foot, had a couple of errors, had a couple wild pitches that cost them runs. That really broke the game open for Southern California. So if they're able to tighten that up, no reason why this shouldn't be a tight game down the stretch. Here is Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. First pitch swinging, right back up the box for a single in the center field. And Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo, her 3rd hit of the tournament, a leadoff single.
Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. I mean, this girl's got so much swag. This girl can play this game, and she's just an athlete on both sides of the plate. Obviously, we've talked about her pitching, but I'm more impressed with her at-bats at the plate. She's just a straight-up competitor.
Here is Michaela Thomas, the catcher. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. That swag, I think, comes from Grandpa Steve, the manager.
It has to.
Steve Sandberg, Brooklyn's grandfather, the manager of this Southern California team. What a character he is. We've enjoyed chatting with him all week as Thomas pops that one up on the bunt attempt for out number 1. Good job by Brooklyn Scott to make the play. But Grandpa Steve, he's like Lou Brown, the manager of the Indians in Major League. He's a guy who's been around. He said before the season he was retired. I'm not coaching again. His granddaughter said, come on, Grandpa Steve, one more year. And he's back. Here he is, the former paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne. He's a great guy and a great mentor to these young girls.
Yeah, and just from talking to him, my little conversation with him, it's like, gosh, I would love to play for this guy. He's just so direct and, you know, inspiring with his words and his tone.
Here is Ariana Serta, 1 out, a runner on first. That ball gets by the catcher, Brooklyn Scott, and Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo over to second. So a runner in scoring position for Serta, who's 3 for 9 in the tournament, including a game-winning walk-off triple against Arizona a couple nights ago. That one lifted into the air to center field. Coming in to make the catch at the shoestrings is Lily Ferguson. Waited to the last millisecond to catch that ball.
What an amazing way to just stay with that. You can see off the bat that both Hannigan and Lily Ferguson in center field were kind of figuring out who was going to make that catch, but the center fielder always has the right of way, and Ferguson making sure she makes that catch.
Well, Ferguson's got the web gem here today. We saw Hannigan out in left field make some spectacular catches yesterday in the win for Northern California. So the outfield getting it done. And backing up Maya Parada now with 2 outs and a runner on second for Katrina Ramirez. One of the older players, you see 13 years old. You're allowed to be 13 just kind of depending on when you were born, what month. Typically the participants ages 10 to 12 years old. Ramirez had the game-tying RBI in the 7th inning against Arizona. She's come up in big spots before. Here's the 0-2. As Sandberg-Zygo out there at second, she is very aggressive on the base paths, as is this whole Southern California team. That is the strategy of Coach Steve Sandberg. We're going to put runners in motion. That's into shallow right field, right at the edge of the infield dirt. And Gutierrez makes the catch to end the inning. 3 fly ball outs for Parada after the leadoff single. No score as we move to the second. No score, top of the second here at the Little League Softball West Region Championship game between Northern California and Southern California. Eric Rothman, Natasha Watley here with you. And a team from California has gone on to win the Little League World Series a few times. In fact, 5 times in the history of the tournament. 3rd in the standings by state. As you've seen, Texas has dominated the Little League Softball World Series over the years, having won 14 championships. And so one of these teams looking to add one more to the tally for California if they can earn a trip to Greenville. A hot day here in San Bernardino, as it has been all week long, but some steady pitching despite the stage that these girls are on. Brooklyn Sandberg, Zygo, and Maya Parada looking sharp here early.
Yeah, and they both had their A games today. They came out to play, and this is when you rise to the occasion. This is when you want your best performance to show up, and so far, so good.
So to lead it off here in the 2nd inning, it's Anya Kapoor, the right fielder. It's the lefty Brooklyn Sandberg. Zygo, first pitch, smacked into center field, a base hit for Kapoor. In the middle of this Northern California lineup, starting with Kapoor and then Hannigan and Layla Ortiz, has really done a nice job hitting the ball throughout this entire tournament. Between the 3 of them, they've amassed 14 runs scored in the 4 games played.
I think that just is a testament when we talked about earlier how these are their comeback girls. Can't take any hitters off.
Little floater to Brooklyn Sandberg, Zygo, or excuse me, to Ava Santa Cruz, who makes the play for out number 1. And that'll bring up Layla Ortiz, the 3rd baseman. Talk about big-time clutch hits. Layla Ortiz, a game-winning RBI in extra innings against Utah. And you saw her bio there. She's a Swiftie. We've got a lot of Swifties here in San Bernardino this year. Strike called right down the middle. One of the things that you and I have talked about, Natasha, throughout this tournament is Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo really seems to step her game up when she has runners on base.
Yes, it seems like the higher the pressure moments, the more she rises to the occasion, and she's just a pure competitor. I've enjoyed watching her throw throughout this whole entire tournament, and she has a plan. She pitches with conviction, and she's a fighter.
Smacked the other way, foul, as Ortiz stays alive. When asked who Layla Ortiz would most like to meet, Natasha, she said Gordon Ramsay, because she would like to improve her cooking skills.
Oh.
And I don't know. There's a lot of celebrity chefs. I don't know if I would go with the guy that just yells at you all day if you wanted to learn.
Yeah, I'll be a food taster. I'm down.
That's right. Popped up foul territory. Coming in to make the catch on her knees is Elena Elias for out number 2.
And Elena Elias just finding where she is at in foul territory and just making sure she gets to this ball, dropping to her knees, making a spectacular catch.
Some great defensive glove work by both teams so far. Lefty on lefty matchup here as Isabella Aguirre stands in. Leadoff batter Anya Kapoor reaching with a single. She's still standing over there at first. Aguirre says favorite vacation that she's been on, Switzerland. Sounds amazing. I'd like to vacation with the Aguirre family if that's where we're going. Says she's been playing softball since she was on the 6 and under team. So a lifer so far, Isabella Aguirre, down on the count 1-2. On the ground to the right side, Ariana Serta has it. On to first for out number 3. Sandberg Zygo gave up the leadoff single and then shuts down the Northern California offense. We go to the bottom of the second. No score here at the West Region Final.
Let's go. It's time to play some softball. All the emotions, all the fun in Greenville, North Carolina at the Little League Softball World Series. They will remember this forever.
The Little League Softball Regional Championships continue tonight on ESPN. Mid-Atlantic at 7 Eastern, followed by the Northwest Championship at 9 Eastern. That game being played right here in San Bernardino. The winners earn a spot in the Little League World Series in Greenville, North Carolina. Eric Rothman alongside Natasha Watley. Natasha will be on the broadcast for the Northwest team tonight with game tonight with Trey Bender, pulling double duty today.
Yes.
Should be a good one, as we've got a no-score game between Northern and Southern California. Maya Parada gave up a single to the leadoff batter in the first inning. Nothing after that, and she will be facing Alina Elias to start things off here in the second, who just made that defensive web gem. And that seems to be how it always happens, is you make the great play on the field, and then just so happens you're up to bat next, coming up the next inning.
Spotlight is on you.
Elias 1 for 8 in the tournament. And her favorite baseball player is Shohei Ohtani, another Swiftie as well. What a week it's been for Shohei Ohtani. We'll see if Alina Elias can emulate him here today. Since we've hit the semifinals and now finals in this region, Natasha, we have not seen a lot of teams trying to manufacture runs like we did in the early round games with the bunts and steals. Maybe that changes today if this game stays close.
Yeah, I think if we get in later innings and the score is still tight, I think we'll see that. I just think that teams have been making the adjustments at the plate and trying to manufacture runs just by straight up hitting, and sometimes maybe too the defenses have been falling apart sometimes, depending on who you're talking about.
Both of these teams, as Elias is hit in the back, both of these teams have taken advantage of opponents making mistakes. You go back to Southern California's first game against Hawaii in this tournament. Southern California scored 10 runs. They only needed 3 hits in that game because Hawaii committed 6 errors. And, similarly for Northern California in their game yesterday against Arizona, they won that game 8-4, but Arizona had 5 defensive errors, a lot of those late in the game that kind of put it out of reach for them. As the runner Elias breaks her second, great throw, and the call at second is out. Brooklyn Scott with the sniper, and there's one away.
And that throw was on the money. Brooklyn Scott, fire me up. Nobody is running on me today. That is what Brooklyn Scott is screaming. I love it.
Good tag as well. And before we get there, will we see a challenge on the play as Christine Larson, our home plate umpire, calls a time? Nope, we will resume. So 1 out, and Emma Garcia up to the plate, the lefty. 1 for 6 in the tournament. First pitch swinging to the left side. It's going to be a long throw for Jenna Drake. Airmails the first baseman, and now Garcia's in trouble. Garcia caught in no man's land, going back to first, getting run down, and out at first. 2 players for Southern California running themselves into outs, and there's 2 away.
And Jada Drake just airmailed this throw, but just the heads-up play by Isabella Aguirre to stay with this and have the ability to get her to go in a rundown. Incredible play, and that is a huge out.
2 down now for Bella Hackler. What do they say, Natasha? Defense wins championships?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Hackler says her favorite food is chicken and waffles, Southern California. Good place to get those.
And I was like, same. Same, Bella. Let's hang out.
Popped up, and Brooklyn Scott. She had the throw down and the put out at second, and then now makes out number 3 on the foul ball. An unconventional 1-2-3 inning. No score after 2 here in San Bernardino. We welcome you back to the Little League Softball Regional, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Move on to the 3rd inning, still no score here, and that is Northern California manager John Drake. And boy, we have enjoyed getting to know him this week. A great story that really represents what the Little League community is all about. Back in 2016, John's wife, Lottie, was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a really tough time for their family, as you see Lottie happy and healthy and in the stands here rooting on her daughter, Jada, this week. And it was a tough time, and in that tough time, the Little League community in Almaden really stepped up, starting with the president and the vice president of the league, Pete Fuquay and Brian Baggett, organizing meal trains, giving the kids rides, helping out any way that they could. And talking to Coach Drake, Natasha, earlier this week, he teared up just recalling the story and how much love he felt from the community. And he said, after that, if anybody in our community, in the Little League community, asks us to do anything, the answer is yes, because we can't repay them for everything they did for us.
Yeah, such an inspiring story, and just, you know, the power of community and just, you know, what Little League has meant to their family was just so neat to hear.
And so happy to see Lottie here, taking in the ball game as well. As Northern California looks to earn a trip to Greenville, North Carolina, the Little League Softball World Series. Lottie looks comfortable. You got to stay in the shade here in San Bernardino. Lily Ferguson leading things off for Northern California. Swing and a miss there. Northern California hoping to get a little bit more production at the bottom of their lineup here. A swing and a miss. 3rd strikeout of the game for Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. If you want your child to experience the community, the teamwork, and the fun of Little League baseball or softball, you visit playlittleleague.org and enter your address to find a Little League community program near you. So Maya Parada due up. And I mentioned the bottom of this lineup having struggled a little bit here in this tournament. Ferguson, Parada, and Garibaldi Munoz combining to go just 2 for 33 at the plate. So if they could get a little bit more balance, get a runner on here, turn the lineup over, maybe that'll spark something for their offense.
Yeah, and just right now with facing someone like Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo, just trying to hit hard ground balls and just trying to continue to have line drives, put the ball in play. They're struggling with just trying to have solid contact. She throws a lot of strikes, so you can err on being aggressive. 28
of the 34 pitches thrown. Strikes, and there's another one on the outside corner, 1-2. So Maya Parada says her favorite athlete of all time, Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
There's the 1-2. Burns the inside corner of the plate. Back-to-back punch-outs for BSZ.
And Sandberg Zygo just doing what she does best, just locating her pitches well. Last strikeout on the outside corner, this strikeout on the inside corner. She is in control today.
2 outs, nobody on for Azareas Garibaldi Munoz, the lefty. First pitch swing, aggressive, just like Natasha said. But Trinity McIntosh right there to squeeze it for out number 3. Quick work for Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. 1-2-3 inning. We head to the bottom of the 3rd, still no score. Take you back to Sunday, the first meeting between these two teams. The 4th inning, Northern California had a 4-3 lead, and then some errors and some wild pitches on the Northern California defensive side of things opened it up for Southern California. They scored 4 in the 5th and 4 in the 6th to win it 11-4. And Northern California, after losing that game, the consolation side of the bracket, they win 3 games in a row. Since then, Southern California undefeated. That's how we've gotten here to our championship game. And you saw Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo mowing down batters here in this one, similar to what she did in game number 1. 6 innings pitched, allowing just 3 earned runs and striking out 5. Bottom of the 3rd inning, Southern California back up to the plate. Ava Santa Cruz to lead things off. The bottom half of the lineup for Southern California has stepped up big time in this tournament. A foul ball into left field. Santa Cruz, Carmen Bocanegra, Trinity McIntosh, and Bailey Dell, those 4 at the bottom of the lineup for Southern California, have produced a ton of runs. 12 between the 4 of them, including a big 3 RBI triple by Bailey Dell in the Hawaii game. And it's got to give you so much confidence as a screamer, the one hop into the glove of Ortiz. That is another nifty defensive play, this time at the hot corner by Layla Ortiz.
And this is just such a great display of how you move your feet, you get to the ball. Your glove is where your feet are, and Layla Ortiz shuffling her feet over there, getting that ball. Great play.
Carmen Bocanegra with 1 out, nobody on. Strike called on the outside corner. Bocanegra says her favorite TV show is Survivor. You know, playing here in San Bernardino in this heat is good prep, I think, for going into the jungles of Survivor.
Yeah, I think she can handle it. If she actually tried out for the show, she'd be a good contestant.
Down in the count, 0-2 to Maya Parada. Parada, no strikeouts yet, but a lot of balls in play, and you're already seeing the stellar defense behind her. Off-speed pitch has Bocanegra guessing strikeout number 1 and out number 2 in the inning.
Parada just going to her changeup. She's doesn't have a lot of velocity with her fastball, but with that changeup when slow and slower, that is just so tough to hit.
It makes the fastball look a lot faster than it is.
Exactly.
There's Trinity McIntosh, 3 for 6 with 3 runs scored in the tournament. On the ground to Ortiz. Across the field to Agaria. 1-2-3 inning. We've got a pitcher's duel here in the West Regional. Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo and Maya Parada bringing their A game here to Al Houghton Stadium. The Little League Softball Regionals presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Moving to the top of the 4th inning, still no score. Got to stay cool. Got the ices, the tents. We've seen some umbrellas. Anything to beat the heat if you're watching our West Region Championship game. Eric Rothman, Tasha Watley here with you. Northern California coming up to the plate. A full day of regional championships here on ESPN. The Mid-Atlantic game in Massapequa and Moscow, Pennsylvania taking on each other at 7 Eastern. And then Montana and Oregon here in the Northwest game in San Bernardino. That'll be later on tonight. And it'll be Kira Gutierrez lead things off for Northern California. And Natasha, one of the questions that was asked of these kids is, what's your superstitions leading into games? Kira Gutierrez gave us her entire routine coming into these games as she laces that one foul. She says, first of all, there's too many superstitions for me to count, but I cut my nails, then I put the left sock on before the right sock, then I put my lucky sliding shorts on, and then I put the pants on last, then the belt, and then I tuck in the jersey.
And Eric, like, those things matter. When you go out of order, like, that's when you know you're not going to have a good game. So I'm with you on that one, Kira.
And the question is, do you mix up the order if you have a bad game? Do you put the socks on last? Well, we'll see. Right now, she's had a really nice tournament. 5 for 14, 2 RBI, 3 runs scored for Kita Gutierrez, the second baseman. On the ground, slow roller, Santa Cruz, not enough time. And Gutierrez beats it down the line for a leadoff infield single. And we've talked about the 60-foot bases. It's tough to make long throws on slow ground balls.
Yeah, and that's softball. Softball's a quick game, and even where Ava Santa Cruz was, she did all the right things. She had the right approach, just a lot of speed from Kira Gutierrez, and you got to know the speed of the runner. You got to get rid of the ball, but she did all the right things right there.
There's Jada Drake, opposite field, right at Hackler, who makes the catch, one away. And again, the bounce back ability of Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo gives up the infield single. Next batter, 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes her so great, and that's what defines a great pitcher. It's, if you give up a hit, you give up a walk, what happens next? What do you do in that next pitch, that next at-bat? And she's been doing an incredible job of bouncing back.
Brooklyn Scott lays down the bunt, perfectly placed, and beats the throw. Heading to third is Gutierrez. Execution to the max for Brooklyn Scott. Couldn't have drawn it up any better.
Yeah, and Brooklyn Scott just using her speed, doing a good job, sacrificing herself, getting this bunt down, getting it down on the ground, but relying on her speed to get her there.
First time a runner has reached third base in this game. Gutierrez standing on third with 1 out. Ground ball to the right side. That should score a run. Fielding in and making the play is Serta. And Northern California breaks the deadlock with a run here in the 4th. Scott moves up to second base. A 1-0 game. Northern California gets the RBI from Danica Garcia.
And this is just a productive out, hitting behind the runner, going right side, knowing that you've got a runner on third. That's exactly what you want to do, picking up an RBI, and good job to Danica Garcia.
Here's Anya Kapoor, who singled and was stranded in the second inning. And that is something that we have learned about this Northern California team. If you let them hang around, which everybody in this tournament, aside from Southern California in game number 1, has let Northern California do, they wait, they're patient, and at some point they're going to strike.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's the equivalent. Is that like a fly or a bee where they're just hovering around waiting to make their attack? But I mean, honestly, that's the best way to describe them. It's they find a way to stay in the game, and they just make things happen.
So 1-1 count to Kapoor, who scored 6 runs through 4 games in this tournament. She's been on base a ton. And we'll also see now how this changes the strategy for Northern California defensively, because we've seen as they've gotten leads throughout this tournament late in games, they turn to Jada Drake in the pitching circle, even though Maya Parada has been pitching excellent in this game. At some point, if they're leading, we expect to see Jada Drake. Will it be here in the bottom of the 4th inning? We don't know. Kapoor strikes out, but Northern California gets a run on the board. 1-0, bottom of the 4th. See the number 03 on the left arm of Bailey Dell there for Southern California as her team trails 1-0 heading into the bottom of the 4th inning. And that is the number of teammate Ariana Olmos. Olmos was the starting shortstop for this team. She was injured in the opening round game against Hawaii in a collision at second base. She's been unable to play the remainder of the tournament. So the players keeping Ariana in their thoughts. They've got her number on their arm. They've had her jersey hanging in the dugout. And it's really, you feel for Ariana because you know how hard she worked to make it here to regionals. And then to get hurt in that first game, it's tough. But obviously, her teammates trying to keep her in mind throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, and that's just so special. Like, this is a sisterhood. And I love that they are just remembering her, that she is with them, whether she can be on the field or not. And it's a really neat thing to see.
Bailey Dell, the final batter in the order for Southern California before it turns back over to Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. Says she would like to be a nurse when she grows up. She's 3 for 6 with 3 ribbies in the tournament thus far. Takes a strike there, 1-1 from Maya Parada. So with the 1-0 lead, no change in pitcher yet for Northern California, but we do expect to probably see Jada Drake at some point in the circle.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I'm a big advocate. If it's not broke, don't fix it, and that's the thing that got them here.
Drake playing shortstop right now and makes the catch, 1 away.
But what I love so much about Jada Drake and Maya Parada, they are 2 completely different pitchers. They definitely complement each other. Maya Parada is more precision, slower, not going to throw it by you, but Jada Drake is a power pitcher. She goes for the Ks, and so she's a closer. And so I love how they complement one another, and they're a tag team.
And a timeout on the field as John Drake, the manager for Northern California, comes over. And it looks like he may be making a pitching change here as the lineup turns over. So despite the fact that Parada has only thrown, I think it was 27 pitches, this will be the start of the second time through the lineup for Southern California. And they are going to make a pitching change. So interesting here, a 1-0 lead. And we expect Jada Drake to come in to the circle when we return. Oh, so with all the talk we had about Jada Drake coming in relief for Northern California, it's actually Azareas Garibaldi Munoz, who has only pitched in 1 inning in this tournament. She threw 10 pitches in the comeback win against Utah. And so an interesting choice here. Second time through the lineup for Southern California, Natasha. They go with the lefty who hasn't had very much experience here in this tournament.
Well, I'm thinking it's all about matchups. So we've got a lefty on lefty. We've got Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo, who's a lefty coming up. And so I'm thinking, you know, it's all about a matchup, and I'm here for it.
So Parada's day is done. 3 1/3 innings, giving up just 1 hit and no runs. And there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo stands in. First pitch swinging, laced on a hop to Gutierrez, who makes the play for out number 2. Garibaldi Munoz, Natasha, wins the lefty-on-lefty matchup just 1 pitch in.
Yeah, and the plan worked, and you can see Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo up in the box. She had a plan and ropes it, but that D game right there.
Gutierrez with the nice snag. Here's Michaela Thomas, the catcher with 2 outs. Skipped in there. Michaela's favorite singer is Rihanna. That one over the head of Thomas. You see the 0-3 on the arm, on the left arm, and then on the right arm, the I Heart Ari, Ariana Olmos.
So cute.
2-0 count to Thomas. 3-0. No Southern California batter has walked today. As Garibaldi Munoz way behind in the count. Ball 4. 4-pitch walk to Michaela Thomas. So the tying run on first with 2 outs. And here is Ariana Serta. When you talk about who you want up to the plate in a big-time situation, it's Serta, the game-winning triple against Arizona. Stands in with the tying run at first base and 2 outs. Good job by Brooklyn Scott to keep that ball in front of her. We've already seen Scott throw out a runner at second base, so Michaela Thomas staying put at first. And Serta stands in. Gets a 1-hopper, backhanded by Drake. Long throw, not in time. Infield single for Serta, and there's 2 aboard for Southern California.
and you can see Jada Drake just a little bit shaded up the middle on this play. But gets to this ball and gets it to it cleanly, but just, again, our game is so fast, and that throw doesn't get there in time.
2 outs, 2 on for Katrina Ramirez, who fouls that one off her foot. It does not feel good. Ramirez, the third baseman for Southern California, took that foul ball hard off the ankle. Gonna walk it off, pick up the bat, get back in there. See what kind of mobility she has now after the left ankle seems to be bothering her after the foul ball.
Yeah, that is the worst. Not one of my favorite things when you foul off a ball into your shin, your foot, and it just goes numb, and you're waiting for it to come back.
0-1 to count. Thomas, the runner at second, Serta, the runner at first. Scott again keeps that pitch in front of her. Is this the opening that Southern California needed? The 1-1 pitch in the dirt. Reyes, Scarvaldi, Munoz just trying to get out of the inning. Runners go. No throw. So pitch in the dirt. And Thomas and Serta both advance. Now the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at second for Southern California, and a 3-1 count on Katrina Ramirez. Things were going so smoothly for Northern California with Parada on the mound, and now the biggest threat of the game for Southern California. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Alina Elias. Lefty on lefty matchup once again. Elias, who was hit by a pitch, caught stealing. Back in the second inning. Lifted into right field. Kapoor going back and makes the grab. Southern California strands the bases loaded, unable to score a run, and after 4 complete innings, Northern California clinging to a 1-0 lead here in the West Region Championship. Natasha Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo has been cooking in the circle here today.
She is just phenomenal. She's got so much command, so many of her arsenal of pitches that she's got in her pocket, and she is just a fun pitcher to watch. I am writing down her name because I definitely think she's going to be someone that we're going to have to remember years from now. 5
strikeouts, only allowed 4 hits so far. She has given up 1 run. That is the difference in the game. It's a 1-0 lead for Northern California as they come back up to the plate here in the top of the 5th. And all of a sudden, if you're Southern California, this game has moved along, and you've now only got 2 innings to figure it out and tie or take the lead.
Yeah, and just the adjustments. What adjustments are they going to make, and are they going to step up to the occasion and put some more runs on the board?
We shall see. Right now they need to play good defense and keep it a 1-0 game as Aspen Hannigan will lead things off for Northern California. Hannigan popped out to the shortstop earlier in the game. Takes a strike there. One of the things that's so key for Sandberg-Zygo is first pitch strikes.
Yeah, she gets ahead, and that's what I think sets her apart. She goes right at hitters, and that's what I'm saying. If you can just swing early in the count, you know you're going to get something good.
Hannigan 4 for 10 with 5 runs scored here this week. 13 first pitch strikes today and 17 batters faced for BSZ. On the ground to Ramirez at third, 1 away. Here's our Sunday night baseball matchup, the series finale between the Yankees and the AL East leading Orioles at Camden Yards, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Radio. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown. Yanks O's, I believe Aaron Judge activated, back from his injury. There's a bunch shown and pulled back for Layla Ortiz. Ortiz, not a fan of either of the two teams in our Sunday night game, a San Francisco Giants fan, as I'm sure a lot of these Almaden Little League All-Stars are, the San Jose area where they're from. They appeal down to first. She did not swing. Shows bunt, back to the pitcher, Sandberg Zygo. Covering first is Serta for out number 2. Textbook bunt defense.
Yes, and Sandberg Zygo just jumping off that mound and making that play, and just so calm, cool, collected, knows how much time she has, no rush, no urgency, no panic.
Serta doing the good job coming over from second base to make sure she was there to cover first. And here's Isabella Aguirre with 2 outs and nobody on. Aguirre, a ground out to end the second inning, her only plate appearance, as her favorite food is sushi. She's got good taste. Lifted into left field, a base hit with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th for Northern California. So some 2-out juice, little dance moves at first base.
A little solid piece of hitting, back in the box, keeping those hands inside, going left side. Lefty on lefty, I'd be pumped too.
I'm always amazed by kids who can chew gum and swing a bat at the same time. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, let alone hit a fastball from Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. Here's Lily Ferguson, struck out in the 3rd. Tried to go opposite way, fouled it out of play. 0-2 the count. As Sandberg Zygo trying to strand another runner. Down the line and a fair ball for Ferguson. Just snuck inside the chalk. And back-to-back base hits for Northern California. Two on, 2 out for Maya Parada. A stellar game in the circle for Parada. Now trying to get it done with the bat. Aguirre, the runner at second, Ferguson at first. Strike called on the outside corner, 0-1. Maya Parada, favorite movie, Remember the Titans, despite wearing the Terminator shades that we've seen her in every game here. Strike 2, painting the black. Great location by Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo.
Like next level location. I'm up here just nodding my head. I'm like, those are some nice pitches and locations right there.
She's only thrown 11 balls in nearly 60 pitches. Swing and a miss. 3-pitch strikeout to end the inning. Northern California leaves 2 ducks on the pond. It remains a 1-0 game. Southern California coming up in the bottom of the 5th inning.
No day of rest here at Athletes Unlimited. What a play! Foul territory. Oh my goodness! And she'll make it with a slide. The action is unlimited. making every swing and every moment count.
All eyes on Greenville, North Carolina, the Little League Softball World Series. One of these two teams will earn a spot in Greenville after today. A 1-0 lead for Northern California as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. SoCal just 2 hits on the day as they are still searching for their first run. They've gotten a great performance in the circle from Brooklyn, Sandberg, Zygo. And now it's time to hit as we have some changes defensively for Northern California. Jada Drake comes in to pitch, trying to shut the door on Southern California. Danica Garcia comes into third base. Kita Gutierrez moves over to second. And Layla Ortiz moves, Gutierrez moves to short and Ortiz moves to second. So now Jada Drake comes in, Natasha. We thought maybe we'd see her in the last inning. Here she is. Bottom of the 5th inning, and a chance to do what she's done best this entire tournament, and that is shut the door on her opponents.
Yeah, and just great timing of bringing in. Again, you know, we talked about how she complements Parada. She's a power pitcher. She comes right at you. She challenges hitters with her speed. She's got an incredible changeup as well, but she is a power pitcher.
Facing Emma Garcia to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Line drive right into the glove of Danica Garcia. Just came in as a defensive replacement. First pitch goes right to her, and there's one away.
And we always say that in softball, new ball finder. Anytime you go out to a new defensive position, the ball always seems to find you, so you better be ready. But Garcia, she's ready.
Jada Drake has pitched in all 4 games so far, now 5 games for Northern California. The only team to score a run off of Jada Drake, an earned run, was this Southern California team in the opening round matchup. Drake has pitched 9 innings in the tournament, given up 14 hits, 5 earned runs. In the games that she hasn't pitched against Southern California, 6 innings, 7 hits, 0 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. Down the line and left, fair ball, a trap catch by Hannigan. Bella Hackler is on for Southern California. Just the 3rd hit of the game for SoCal, Natasha.
Yeah, and Hannigan yesterday making some 2 great catches, and so I know she was trying to have the same feel from yesterday, but just a little bit short on those dives.
Tying run at first for Ava Santa Cruz. 0 for 1 today with a ground out. Drake has been virtually unhittable since the Sunday matchup against Southern California. The question is, does SoCal just have her number? We shall see. The 1-0 pitch to Santa Cruz. To the left side, past the diving Gutierrez. Back-to-back get base hits for Southern California. Tying run at second, go-ahead run at first, 1 down. Carmen Bocanegra steps into the right-hand batter's box. Struck out in her only plate appearance today. First pitch swinging. Scott had a little trouble with it behind the plate. Both runners stay put. Carmen says she'd like to grow up to become a marine biologist. That one skipped in there. So we had the single by Hackler, the single by Santa Cruz, and now Bocanegra up to the plate. Bocanegra has scored 3 runs in this tournament. Looking to get an RBI here. Southern California, quiet first few innings, but they had 3 base runners in the 4th and now 2 here in the 5th, just looking for that elusive first run. Right to Garcia at third, the force out made for out number 2. Garcia didn't have to go very far.
just very heads up with Garcia, just knowing the situation, knowing where your runners are, and take it yourself, making it look easy out there.
Two-way for Trinity McIntosh. Drake trying to pitch out of the jam. Sky high, shallow center field, going back to make the catch is Ortiz to end the inning. 5 base runners stranded the last 2 innings for Southern California. We head to the top of the 6th, Northern California on top 1-0. The Little League Softball Regionals on ESPN, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Final inning of regulation here in the West Region Final. A nail-biter between Northern and Southern California. NorCal coming back up to the plate, up 1-0 in the top of the 6th, looking for some insurance runs. Time running out for Southern California as Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo back inside the circle. Eric Rothman and Tasha Wiley here with you. And 5 base runners stranded the last 2 innings for SoCal, Natasha. Just haven't been able to cash in on those opportunities.
Yeah, and I think they've just been, their timing has been off. Parada definitely kept their timing off, trying to time her pitches. And then, you know, we had a pitcher we hadn't seen before in Arzuras Garibaldi Munoz. And so just for them, it's a matter of making those adjustments quicker and faster, and they've got one last chance.
First, they need to keep Northern California off the board. Here is Garibaldi Munoz to lead things off. He's got some spin on it over to Ramirez at third. Pulling Elias off the bag, and Garibaldi Munoz is safe. I assume that'll be a throwing error on Ramirez, but we'll wait for the official score. That is an E5.
And that just pulls her off the bag just a tad bit. Throws offline.
So runner on, nobody out for the leadoff hitter, Kita Gutierrez. Takes a strike. Gutierrez, the lone run to score in this game. Singled and scored in the 4th. Speed pitch misses up and in. Gutierrez has done a really nice job setting the tone for this offense as the leadoff hitter throughout this entire tournament.
And Coach Ortiz from Northern California describes her as the best all-around athlete, their best all-around player. And, you know, you could just see her athleticism at the top of the lineup. She's got a little bit of speed. Yeah,
and defensively as well, the combination of her and Jada Drake up the middle has been really solid for Northern California. She goes opposite way, sends it to Hackler in right, and there's one away. Each team has committed just 1 error. We've mentioned it throughout the broadcast, but that has been the demise of teams that aren't here today, that didn't make the finals. A lot of errors, but we have seen some crisp defensive play here in the championship round. As Sandberg Zygo trying to move Hackler out right field closer to the line as Jada Drake stands in. Changeup misses as Drake 1 for 2 with a single. Garibaldi Munoz, the runner at first base with 1 away. She goes opposite way, a screamer into right field for a base hit. Good attention to detail by Hackler trying to get Jada Drake out from right field, but Drake just too quick down the line. So Garibaldi Munoz moves over to second. Drake on with a 1-out single, and Brooklyn Scott up to the plate. Laid down a perfect bunt for a single in her last at-bat. We'll see if she tries it again. Swings away over the head of Serta into right field. Garibaldi Munoz rounding third, heading home. The throw goes to third. Drake is out, but the run scores. An RBI single for Brooklyn Scott makes it 2-0 Northern California.
Yeah, and just a great piece of hitting to pick up an RBI here. But what's more impressive is this relay back onto the infield from Hackler all the way in. And just a heads-up play, just knowing where your runners are and getting Drake out at third.
Cut the throw off to third. Garibaldi Munoz scores. Scott moved up to second on the throw. The 8th hit of the game for the Northern California offense. And here's Danica Garcia. She had a ground out RBI in the 4th. Takes a strike there, 1-1. So a little cushion now for Northern California, but we have seen Southern California come back from deficits late in games already in this tournament. They did it against Arizona in extra innings, down 1-0, scored 2 runs to end it. They're going to be down going into the bottom of the 6th inning here against Northern California. The question is by how much? Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo trying to get out of it. Ahead in the count, 1-2 to Garcia. Misses off the plate as Scott dances off second. Here's the break even. In the dirt, 3-2. Garcia, a strikeout and a ground out with an RBI. Anya Kapoor, who has been stellar, waiting on deck. Three-two pitch, called third strike on the outside corner. As Sandberg Zygo gets out of the inning, but one more run on the board for Northern California. The bottom of 6th coming up. NorCal up 2-0. Take you back 2 nights ago, a semifinal game between undefeated teams. Southern California giving up a run in the top of the 7th inning in extras to Arizona, then coming right back, tying the game in the bottom of the 7th, and then Ariana Soda, a triple to walk it off and send Quartz Hill to the West Region Finals. And now here today, Quartz Hill down to their final 3 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning, trailing 2-0 to Northern California. A run in the 4th, a run in the 6th, the only scoring we've had in this game. Does Southern California have one more comeback in them? Eric Rothman and Natasha Watley here with you. It'll be Bailey Dell to lead it off for Southern California. Then the lineup turns over to the leadoff hitter, Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo. And everybody around the country vying for a ticket to Greenville, North Carolina. You see the international and the United States tickets that have already been punched. Salisbury, North Carolina, the host. Hewitt, Texas. Winterville, North Carolina. Milford, Connecticut. And Austin Town, Ohio, your U.S. teams for the World Series that begins on August 6th. Natasha Watley alongside myself, Eric Rothman. So it's Bailey Dell. Natasha lead things off. Big spot here for Dell, who is 0 for 1, just her 2nd plate appearance of the game. And this is the spot in the lineup where things got going against Arizona in the game 2 nights ago. Popped up softly to second base, falls in no man's land, and it's a leadoff single for Bailey Dell. Just out of reach of Gutierrez and Ortiz up the middle.
And this just looks like a little miscommunication between Gutierrez and Ortiz on who's going for that ball, but shortstop always has the right of way to go for that.
And here's the lefty, Brooklyn Sandberg Zygo, had the go-ahead run, or excuse me, the tying run in the game against Arizona. Can she get a run across here with a big hit? Strike called. for 2 today. A runner at first, nobody out, trailing by 2. Off-speed pitch, little number down the first baseline, but foul.
I don't know about you, Eric, but this is the matchup that I came to see. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo versus Drake, like, you know, the 2 studs on both teams.
With the game on the line.
With the game on the line, I am, again, here for it.
Here's the 0-2. Missing low and away, 1-2. Another off-speed pitch gets by Brooklyn. Scott advancing the runner. Bailey Dell down to second. So Southern California is going to need at least 2 here, but they've got 1 in scoring position with nobody out. Here's the break even to Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo. On the ground to the left side. Gutierrez didn't know what to do with it and threw it away. Bailey Dell heading home, and Southern California is down by 1. Northern California had been near perfect defensively all game, and Gutierrez was unsure where to go with that ball, Natasha.
Yes, and just her indecisiveness on this. She wasn't sure where to go, but in that situation, you know, you're up by 2 runs, just get outs, go to 1, and get the outs.
So Bailey Dell, good heads-up base running.
Situations where you have to know what you got to do with the ball
fielder's
before
choice
you get it.
For
that's all it is.
Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo at bat,
over, so
and then an error scores.
That's a time run on second. Do you understand? So if she's going, we got a chance to get her, we got to get her. Okay? We got no outs now. We have to get her at the lead runner. Best believe she's going to try to bunt. Right? So you got to be at third on the bunt. Okay, we got to get her. That's a tying run. You got to block balls, Brooklyn. What are you saying?
So the directive is get Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo out. She's the tying run at second base. As Michaela Thomas will come up 1 on, nobody out. Winner advances to the Little League Softball World Series beginning on August 6th. The training staff coming out to look at Danica Garcia. And Garcia, who was playing third base, I don't know if there was a collision on the slide with Bailey Dell, that she was a little shaken up.
Yeah, and it looked like she was showing her arm, so I'm not sure if she had a cut or she got a little scratch or something.
So Garcia coming out of the game, and moving to third base is Maya Parada. So Parada, who started the game as the pitcher, had come out of the game defensively. Now she re-enters, taking over for Ortiz, who got hurt in the collision with Bailey Dell. And that's where you see her arm got caught between the leg and the cleat.
Yeah, and looked like they just got crossed up in that little collision right there.
So Parada at third, nobody out, the tying run at second base, and Michaela Thomas up in a huge spot for Southern California. Thomas popped out in foul territory in the first, walked in the fourth. Her first time facing Jada Drake today. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo representing the tying run at second base. Corners in. Thomas shows bunt, lays it down, beautifully placed. Drake makes the play over to first for out number 1. Now the tying run 60 feet away for Southern California.
Yes, and I love the small ball choice and move, play small ball, play the game right. Move runners, put the ball in play.
And now look who it is, Natasha. Ariana Serta, who had the walk-off triple against Arizona, stands in with a chance to tie it here in the bottom of the 6th. Southern California down to their final 2 outs. Brooklyn Sandberg-Zygo, the runner at 3rd. The pitch from Jada Drake. Popped up, foul territory towards the dugout, and out of play. Serta, a fly ball out to the center fielder in the 1st inning and a single in the 4th. The heart of the order for Southern California. Oh, 0-1 the count on Ariana Serta. Looks at a strike on the outside corner, 0-2. Serta behind the count, just trying to put something in play here. Set Sandberg-Zygo in motion. The 0-2. Fought off. Can feel the tension here in San Bernardino, Natasha.
I'm nervous up here.
It's moved from heat sweats to nervous sweats. Sandberg-Zygo tying her shoe over there at 3rd. Quick timeout. Big spot for Serta. Still just 1 out. The 0-2 to Serta. Foul back, and the at-bat continues. Serta, Sandberg-Zygo, and Katrina Ramirez, who's in the on-deck circle. Those 3 were the 3 that got the job done against Arizona in extra innings 2 nights ago. Looking for a repeat performance here, down to their final 2 outs, and a trip to Greenville on the line. The 0-2 once again. This is up and away. Sandberg-Zygo just waiting for that ball if it gets past Brooklyn Scott behind the plate. One-two pitch to Ariana Serta. Off-speed pitch, called 3rd strike. Jada Drake delivers for Northern California. And now SoCal down to their final out.
The timing of this changeup, this is just next level. To be able to have the confidence to throw that pitch right now, that is awesome.
Here is Katrina Ramirez at the game-tying RBI in the 7th against Arizona. She is 0 for 1 today with a walk. And a timeout called by Northern California. Southern California 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position today. And they're going to intentionally walk Katrina Ramirez. So instead of having to deal with the cleanup hitter Katrina Ramirez, they put the winning run on first for Alina Elias. So runners at the corners. Alina Elias hit by a pitch and caught stealing in the 2nd. Flew out to the right fielder in the 4th. She's 1 for 9 in the tournament. The lefty in a big spot here. Southern California down to their final out. The tying run at 3rd, the winning run at 1st. Drake deals to Elias. First pitch swinging, foul tip. And the winning run moves up to 2nd. Can Jada Drake close it out? Here's the 0-1 to Elias. Swing and a miss. Southern California down to their final strike. The winner advances to the Little League Softball World Series in Greenville. Northern California one strike away. The 0-2 to Elias. Swing and a miss. And Northern California, the Almaden Little League All-Stars, are headed to Greenville. They lost the opening round game to Southern California. They win 4 straight elimination games, including the rematch here today. What a story, and what a win for the girls from San Jose.
Yeah, just their fight, and I mean, so many heroes on this team, and just the way that they're able to stick together. Kira Gutierrez, Parada, Garibaldi Munoz, Drake. Just what an amazing performance that they've done this weekend.
And how about Jada Drake shutting the door like she has all week long?
Just the ultimate closer, and I love her composure. I love her fight, her confidence with that changeup, rise ball, just incredible performance.
A heartbreaking loss for Southern California. John Drake's wife, Lottie, tears of joy for everything that family has been through. And disappointment for Southern California, but they played one heck of a tournament.
Yeah, they did an amazing job, and nothing to hang their heads on. They just did such a great job just to get here, and should be proud of themselves.
Another ticket punched. San Jose, the Northern California team, joins Austintown, Ohio, Milford, Connecticut, Winterville, North Carolina, Hewitt, Texas, and Salisbury, North Carolina as the American teams who have advanced to Greenville. The Philippines, Italy, Puerto Rico, all having earned a berth as well. Two runs on 8 hits for Northern California, defeating Brooklyn, Sandburg, Zygo, and Southern California. Nobody else has been able to beat them in what has been a stellar week and a stellar performance for the Southern California team. And one thing that we have seen this entire week in this regional is teams that have absolutely left it all out on the field.
No doubt, and I think that that's what makes this so fun to call and to watch and be a part. Is every young lady out here is just going all out, leaving it all out in the field, competing till the very end. And so many of these games are coming down to the very last out, and that's what it's all about, is just putting up your best performance at the right time and just grinding it out.
Almaden Little League headed to Greenville. And what a story it is. Having come out of the consolation bracket, looked like that in that game against Utah, you go back to it, they're down 4-1 in the top of the 6th inning. They score 3 to tie it and 1 to win it in extra innings, and that propels them to go on this run that now will result in their season continuing, going up against the best in the world in Greenville.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch them, and for sure they were the comeback girls, and today they were able to stay ahead and keep that lead, and today they're like, not today. We are not falling behind.
So we will take a break. We will send it to the studio, but when we come back, we will speak to Northern California manager John Drake to hear about everything that this win means to the Almaden Little League community.
All right, coming up next, we've got the Mid-Atlantic game. That is Pennsylvania's Adeline Washko. She made it to the SportsCenter's top 10. She made the #1 spot. That is very challenging to do. We will see her taking on New York in just a bit. But we are going to talk about that Northern Southern California game. Holy guacamole, it came down to the wire.
Yep.
We need to talk about the pitching strategy for Northern California. Can you just walk me through that from start to finish and what your thoughts were on that?
Well, I thought it was very strategic. So they used three different athletes. And when you look at how Northern California lost to Southern California earlier in this tournament, it was Jada Drake in the circle. And I think the coaching staff, John Drake, the manager, decided, I'm going to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to use three different pitchers. I'm not going to let the Southern California hitters see my pitchers too much. I thought it was great strategy. They went righty, lefty, righty, and it was tough. Southern California struggled with runners in scoring position, so it obviously paid off.
What about the sixth inning? Because there were some errors, and then there was that walk. Can you walk us through that sixth inning?
Yeah, so one of the things that manager Drake talked about is that they needed to play clean defense, and they didn't. They had a couple of miscues in that inning, but what they decided to do after a strikeout on a big changeup, they decided to walk one of the best hitters for Southern California. So the intentional walk, they put her on base again. 0 for 7 risk for Southern California, who had scored 11 runs off of Northern California earlier in this tournament. And then Jada Drake comes back and is able to strike out the last hitter of the game. So 2 big strikeouts in that bottom of the 6th inning with a runner at third base. In fact, the tying run at third base. So really some great strategy and some really good pitching in the circle.
Northern California punches their ticket to Greenville for the very first time. How dangerous could they be in Greenville?
Very dangerous. I mean, this is a team with a lot of confidence. They came back through the losers bracket, so they played 4 elimination games back against the wall to be able to get to this championship game and then beat a team that had beaten them 11-4. So that takes a lot of moxie to be able to come back and believe in yourself. And you could see manager Drake, the way he was talking to his kids and saying, you got to believe in yourself. You got to go out there. He says it all the time. We've got decent pitching. We have to play clean defense. And that really was the key. They had 4 errors in the loss earlier against Southern California, just 2 errors today. So they're going to have to be strong defensively and then get the timely hits.
All right, we're going to send it back to Eric and Natasha out in California to hear from the winners.
Welcome back to San Bernardino. Eric Rothman, Natasha Watley here with you. Northern California, the Almaden Little League All-Stars have punched their ticket to Greenville, North Carolina. Jada Drake shutting the door, a game-ending strikeout. And Northern California representing the West region in Greenville. Big hugs with Dad and Coach John Drake. And John is joining us now. Coach, first of all, congratulations. You lose the opening round game to the Southern California team. You're down to your final 3 outs against Utah. You come back, you win it in extra innings. What has this week and this experience been like for you and your team?
Oh, man, it's been a roller coaster, man. Like you said, losing that first game, they got down, but we never give up. I mean, that's been our season all year, and on the backs of our pitchers, it's been crazy. It's been crazy, but that's our team. We don't give up.
Well, congrats, Coach. You threw us for a loop up here. We were anticipating a Parada-Drake tandem today, but then you threw us for a loop. Give us a little behind-the-scenes strategy with going with Garibaldi-Munoz today. So,
I think, they faced us before, and they faced that same Parada-Drake tandem, and so I was thinking, the top of the order is coming around. They haven't seen this pitcher. I don't want them to see Parada a second time around the lineup, so let's throw something different at them. And, our third pitcher, Oz Reyes, she does great. She has a lot of off speed, and so I just was figuring, hey, maybe we can, especially her the top of their lineup, because that's the power of their lineup is their 1 through 3. So I was hoping we can throw them a little curveball there.
Well, you got the job done. And, Coach, we talked about it before the tournament. We've talked about it in the broadcast. Your wife, Lottie, who is here, we showed her on the broadcast, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2016. And you talked about how important this Little League community was to you and your family in that time of need. What does it mean to you personally to be able to deliver this West Region Championship to the Little League community in Almaden?
It means a ton, because like I said, they were our backs. They were our backbone during that time, and along with a lot of family and friends, and it was just for them to do that for us, it meant everything. So to be able to stay in this league for so long and still be able to give them this, I mean, I'm not going to say we're even, but I mean, but it's pretty awesome.
And then to watch your daughter, Jada, close out the game in the circle, we saw the embrace. As a father, how does that feel?
It's everything. It's everything. You know, she reminds me so much of my older daughter. And so just seeing her out there and being able to be in that moment, like there's not a lot of people in this world are going to be in that moment. And just to see her, it was special.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it. It's a feel-good story, and the feel-good story continues. We'll see you in Greenville.
Yes. I got family in West Virginia. You guys better come out and see me in Greenville.
Congratulations,
Right.
Coach.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
John Drake and the Northern California team heading to Greenville, North Carolina. You couldn't ask for a better week. You couldn't ask for a better story and a better finish. The Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship will be up next. For my partner, Natasha Watley, I'm Eric Rothman saying so long from San Bernardino, California, where Northern California wins it 2-1 to punch their ticket to Greenville.
It's not okay to put me on camera after that. That was very powerful stuff. I mean, to all the dads watching, my dad's watching, there's nothing quite like the power of a dad's love and all of that. That was just such a special moment. Hit me in the fields. I don't know if I can talk right now. That was truly, truly special to see also what, you know, his family's gone through. It's really, really incredible. I mean, you need to talk, Michelle, because I clearly can't talk right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just, like you said, you get the feels, and, you know, girl dads are the best. You know, when you see dads out there just, you know, pouring out their heart and their soul for their daughters, we expect it for the boys, right? There's that bond, you know, with their sons, but when you see dads out there coaching their daughters, it just is so special. And that's one of the things I love about Little League softball. It's community-based softball.
Yes.
So you have the communities, you have the states, and then you have the families and that love together. There's nothing better than it. We just saw it.
There's nothing like the family love out there. All right, and we've got more family love coming your way. We've got the Mid-Atlantic coming up, and look at New York's Olivia Feldman. Look at those Vipers. We love them. She's ready to take on Pennsylvania in just a bit. We've got Doug Sherman and Jenny Ritter with a preview of what's to come. Take it away.
Championship Friday will roll on at 7 o'clock Eastern Time in Bristol, Connecticut. The Mid-Atlantic Region title between Moscow, Pennsylvania and Massapequa, New York.